Hi, this is Pastor Randall Neal at Zion Lutheran Church in Hopkins, Minnesota. Today is Tuesday, August 25th of 2020, and so glad you're able to join me this day for our little get-together, our devotion for this week. Now, I just got back this weekend from a week's vacation up in the Brainerd Lakes area in northern Minnesota. It was great. All three of my daughters, Laura, Jessica, and Amanda, and their families were there. And they were off and on throughout the week. Some were able to stay a couple days and some kind of come and went. But it was wonderful to be able to get out on the water, do the swimming, just to be there in the isolation of the North Woods and a beautiful surrounding. It did rain on Wednesday, but otherwise it was sunny and blue skies, white clouds, exactly what the Chamber of Commerce tells you Minnesota is like all the time. And we hadn't been able to see each other for almost 5 months, since February or March of this last year because of the COVID-19 and, like most of you, things being shut down and unable to spend time with your families. Well, we were able to do so. Since that time I saw them last, would be late February, early March, the 3-year-old twins, Evelyn and Brielle. When I last saw them, they were just beginning to walk and they really weren't talking. Now, after almost 5 months, they don't walk anywhere. They run like crazy, and they are two chatterboxes. So it's been fun to see them and how quickly those times change as little ones grow up. Well, in this Brainerd Lakes area where we were, Baxter, it's up actually by Nisswa is where we've been staying. It's an area that's historically, in the Brainerd area specifically, has a long history with the legendary giant lumberjack Paul Bunyan. If you've heard the story, I always enjoyed it as a kid. And Minnesota here, he's quite the legend. Everywhere you go up there, there's some statue, t-shirts, knickknacks promoting this fictional character. He wears this red and black checkered shirt, and he has blue jeans with the cuffs rolled up and big boots, stocking cap or some kind of a working cap. He carries a great big axe in his giant hands. Well, there's an original statue of this Paul Bunyan, just an enormous thing that was in Brainerd for years and years, and not too long ago it was moved to another community. But when it was still in Brainerd, you and your family could go and see this fictional, fun-loving display. A fellow I know talks about taking his little 9-year-old guy, Ronnie, to see this huge Paul Bunyan. Paul was that statue sitting on this big axe with Babe, the blue ox, nearby. And there was a little log cabin at this giant's feet. Well, Ronnie's dad went over to the ticket booth and came back with tickets. And when little Ronnie eagerly gave the ticket taker his ticket so he could go in and see big old Paul, the dad said, I almost became the youngest heart attack victim in Minnesota history. Because Paul Bunyan's big old voice boomed out across the grounds and said, "Hello, Ronnie." Oh, the little 9-year-old Ronnie was blown away. He thought, how could this giant know me? It's all a conspiracy. Well, actually, the ticket booth guy gets the kid's name and relays it to the little man with a microphone in Paul's log cabin at his feet. Who uses that information to welcome some unsuspecting little guy like Ronnie. All Ronnie kept saying the rest of the day was that the big guy knew my name. He knew my name. Well, I tell that because I think that's one of the greatest surprises in our lives. When it dawns on you, when it dawns on me, that the biggest person there is in the entire universe, God Himself, actually knows your name and loves you. Not as one of 7 or 8 billion inhabitants of planet Earth, but as if you were the only one on the planet. Now, you may remember the day that God surprised a Jewish tax collector 2,000 years ago. The guy's name was Zacchaeus. And he's a great example of this wonderful gift, this wonderful surprise of God. And you encounter this in Luke chapter 19. It begins with verse 1. I'm going to read just a small segment of it. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, I love this guy, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead, climbed up in the sycamore fig tree to see him. And when Jesus reached the spot, Luke writes, Jesus looks up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So Zacchaeus came down at once and welcomed Jesus gladly. I tell that because I think there are several surprises, just like Ronnie had surprises with Paul Bunyan. Okay, surprise number one. Jesus knows you, my friend. Not only can he call you by name, but he knows exactly where you are. No matter how concealed you might think you are, he knows every dream, he knows every fear, he knows every sin, every battle, every wound. And knowing all he knows, he still wants to be with you forever. Surprise number two. Jesus wants to go with you into your world. Notice what Jesus said to Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, I want to go into your world. I want to go to your house today. Well, tax collectors back then are not in very favorable light. Not that they're necessarily in good lights today, but not like back then. They were considered turncoats to the Jewish people. Well, Zacchaeus, because of his greed, he was a chief tax collector, remember. Because of his greed and cheating, people despised this man. But Jesus scandalized the town by picking Zacchaeus' place as the place that he would go. Well, the application for you, my friend. Jesus stands ready today to go with you into your personal world. No matter how broken, no matter how shameful, he will meet you there. Not after you've cleaned yourself up, but while we were still sinners. Isn't that good? And then there's a third surprise. Jesus makes you what you never dreamed you could be. Think about that. Zacchaeus ends up a new person, giving half of what he had to the poor, repaying 4 times what he had stolen from the folks. He's really a big man for the first time in his life. Not because of his statue changing, but because of his relationship with Jesus. Well, what do you think the application is for you and me? When Jesus is part of our life, my friend, just as you are, he can make you into a man or a woman you never thought possible. He died on that cross to forgive every sin of your life and to offer you the power to become the brand new person inside. He's calling you by name, even as you're listening right now. Don't miss him. Thanks for listening today. It's always good to be with you. We'll talk to you the next time.